My head gleam like the head of Kareem. Yo, I just wanted to talk about this story. One of my beautiful friends that I've met on my journey, Professor Kareem Abdul Darwish. Um, so I met Kareem at in the One Art days. I was down there buying incense, and he really knocked me out with this incense that he had because it was the first time I could ever smell frequency. Usually I hear frequency or I feel frequency, but to smell it was, eye-opening experience to say the least. And I saw on his card that day that he was, doing Reiki stuff and had worked in like ancient African, Egyptian style healing, and knew about Hinduism and was Muslim and knew about a lot of shit, Tai Chi. So, I started studying with him, and I went over to his crib one night after a TLA concert. I think it was Bone with Sarah Agnew, I think. I can't remember. I think it was Bone Tugs. So I split and I went to the ayahuasca ceremony. And if I would have known what ayahuasca was, I may not have done it. So I'm glad I didn't know what it was because it was a great experience. And what happened was I went over there and he offered me some or whatever. And I was like, cool, cool. And I drank it. He's like, you want some more? I was like, absolutely not. That stuff does not taste good. Um, and then I put on some music, put on some Ravi Shankar and some George Harrison. He went up to his room to trip out. I stayed on the couch, and I was like just getting into it and preparing myself like any trip. And then I took it, and I started to see the Native American deities on top of me, and they were like cool. They were like looking out and protecting during the ceremony. And I forgot to mention this. Kareem said more prayers before that ceremony than I've ever even heard, and he was mixing them up from different religions and stuff like that. So I thought that was actually really cool. I mean, you can't say that this ayahuasca stuff is just Peruvian. You know what I mean? Because we're mixing it with our cultures too in different ways, and it's kind of interesting, man. Especially when you're dealing with somebody like Kareem, because that dude was the truth with it. And anybody I've ever talked to has always said Professor Kareem Darwish is the truth. So I lucked out with this ceremony, and so uh, then I started to hallucinate and would see my thoughts spinning, and I could stop them, and I could say, okay, this is a good thought, and this is a thought I don't want, and I would go towards the good thoughts, and then a new page would open up, like an internet page, and that taught me a lot just in that one little moment, because that was something that's something to live by. You know what I'm saying? Is open up them good thoughts and open up them good situations. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, so Professor Kareem then came down and checked on me, and I felt like I was drunk. I was like, "Yo, where the fuck?" I was like, "Where am I?" And I looked up at him, and he was like, "Yes, I." And he dropped it hard on me and was like, "You're gonna meet up with your soulmate." And I was, oh shit. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm on the right path here. So um, I'm chilling. I'm listening to the tunes, and then eventually it starts to wear off, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna dip. So I split out. I went to Chinatown. I got some grub. I texted Kareem. Was like, yo, I had to dip. Um, but one of the coolest things that transpired was that I could call or text him anytime and talk to him about what I was experiencing and rolling out of with this. Because I did the ayahuasca to try and get out of trauma or like pain. That's a good way to put it, pain. So I rolled it, and then after the ceremony was over, I decided to keep rolling it until I felt better. Um, and I've been rolling it ever since because it's not something you can snap your fingers on. So, but a couple weeks later, I started to feel the terrestrial vibes, and that was the first time I had really felt like, I mean, I've seen terrestrial stuff my whole life, but I wouldn't have necessarily called it that. But now that I know that, I definitely had, the good terrestrials checking in on me and making sure I was good. Maybe that was just the vibration or the frequency or the dimension that I was getting to after doing something like ayahuasca, because that was a big bang for me. That was it. That was the one. You know what I mean? I could probably do ayahuasca and be normal and shit because that was the one. And I got nothing but good things to say about Professor Kareem Darwish and our primordial dream therapy session that we did. It was really cool. Um, you know, it's like, it takes a while, man. It really does. It takes a while when you're on the right path, and it also takes a while when you're doing stuff like the interracial stuff when it comes to just like like I'm somebody that's always known through black music that all music comes from Africa, so all life comes from Africa. So I'm always somebody that's known that, but really getting down and getting to do the hard work that really put I didn't know how to grow a beard before this. I would grow it in and it would be spots. You know what I mean? But after ayahuasca, I learned how to grow a beard. That's what I'm trying to say about doing that hard work, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to do that real shit. So that brother, Professor Kareem Darwish, hooked it up, and I appreciate him eternally, forever. He's a good dude, and I just want to say that he's got that book out there, the Ayahuasca Unveiled book, and I'd love to get my hands on a copy, but I'd also recommend it already, even though I haven't read it, just from working with him, that Kareem Darwish is the truth. So, yeah.